Show Mike, Max, Patrick Royce, Lou Nanny back from his pilgrimage in Israel, and Sid Hartman. Yes, sir.
Well, the Vikings.
Are you gonna go right at
I'll
it?
tell you a little story.
Uh-oh. Here comes Listen. Everybody get ready now. Put your coffee down, just relax and listen. Tell the story.
Mr. Carroll don't do anything without calling Mr. Grant. So I'm in his office. I think I was there when that happened. He says, I want to draft Russell Wilson. And I got no votes among everybody else. What should I do? You remember Francis Tarkington? He was 5'10" too. Take him.
And you were there when this happened?
I think I was. I'm not sure.
No, hold it.
'Cause
Francis
I've been
must
in his
have shrunk.
office a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think I was there. But he told the story. Wilson now has beat the Vikings twice, and the Gophers killed them 1-2.
What were you saying, Lee?
3 victories.
I think Francis must have shrunk because he was
Yeah.
over 6 feet. I'm
Yeah, he-
6 feet. He was taller than me.
Yeah, he is bigger than you think when you're
Yeah.
up against him, yeah. But the point is they're kind of similar.
Yeah.
You got to have the guts.
Well, and Wilson is, hey, third round. Everybody passed on him for 2 rounds. So
a lot of GMs don't look so good on that
lot of
one,
guys
huh?
made a mistake in that pick.
So what do we do here, Patrick?
What I like about Wilson is when he's running around, he's looking downfield.
All the time.
He's looking downfield.
All the time.
Unlike Robert Griffin, unlike some of the other guys that are running quarterbacks, he's always got his head up looking downfield and making passes.
And like Aaron Rodgers, he's not afraid to throw it away if there's nothing there.
No.
So do you take Johnny Football?
GM's opinion of Johnny Football if he's available near the Vikings.
I would take him.
Because
He's an athlete. He's a football player. He's, from what you see, you could say what you want, but he's played 2 tough Alabama teams and still got over 500 yards.
Yep.
He's got to be a pretty good player.
I would say
He's not going to be there when they pick.
right now they're tied for second.
Yeah.
Right now they're tied. They have the tiebreaker for second because they're
second to last.
The
Yeah. Meaning
schedule.
second
is that
overall.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I
They
didn't
only
know
have
that.
2
Yeah.
Where
wins.
did you think they were going to finish?
Yeah, they only have 2
I didn't
wins.
think they were
Ed.
far back by.
They've only got 2 wins. How many teams can you be ahead of?
Everybody at Jacksonville's the only team with 1.
So what do you do here,
Who's
Les?
ahead of them?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's 1-9, and Tampa Bay's now won 2 in a
They
row.
won again, yeah.
So, and they got a strength of schedule deal on, well, I take him. I told you last week, I take him because I'm trying to sell seat licenses. That's why I take him.
Now,
take him. He's the only guy of all of them that would fire up the troops.
I didn't know that they had a choice in really trading Percy Harvin. I think they had to move him, Louis. And getting first-round picks, there's no sin in that. But this year's first-round picks really haven't panned out for the Vikings. It's hard to project if they will.
Well, you don't know. It's early maybe yet for Floyd, but they had to trade him. It's too bad because when you see today, I mean, even when he's only on the field a couple times, he makes just electric plays. Things happen when he's out there.
And
say
he
this.
turned the game around when he returned that kickback. You know, right at start the second, right with a minute to go.
blame Ponder when they got the worst offensive line in the league.
Sid,
And
today he threw 2. They were in the game, and he threw 2 of the worst interceptions in history that had nothing to do with the offensive line. That
He's
had
fighting for his life.
not
None
this
of these.
time.
Fighting for his life.
I mean, you watch Wilson, you watch Ponder, and we were talking about Wilson keeps going down, but he never makes that critical mistake. Ponder makes that critical mistake. His vision or something is restricted something.
And they,
Okay, but
they
the
thought he was
offensive
bad.
line got something to do with
Sid,
it.
Les Frazier, who's been his big supporter, thought he was bad enough to hook him after the second one.
He was hurt. That's why he hooked him.
Boy, Sid.
So what are they going to do? Just play
I
Freeman
wish
the
you were
rest?
my friend, Sid. I wish you were this loyal to me, Louis. What would you do? If Aaron Hernandez was his friend, he'd be defending him. He only killed 2 people.
and we all know how the Wilkes got the raw end of the deal from this woman that we don't know.
They got a defense that can't stop anybody.
Well, when you give them,
Wilson had a picnic today.
Actually,
they got an offensive line that can't block anybody.
Actually, the defense-
And you blame the quarterback for everything.
We weren't blaming the quarterback to start.
Until-
But sometimes, you know, there's an old story. If there's 5,000 troops walking And the parents keep looking and says, how do you like that? Our son's the only one in step. You know, sometimes it is that fault, their fault.
He'll be the quarterback
sometimes.
next year. He'll be the quarterback next year.
How do you? I like that one, man.
They'll never take a quarterback number one.
Well, would you play Freeman now though, just to find out what you got? You still got $3 million invested in him. What's the difference?
I think they'll play somebody because I think
I do too, but
he's
they have
hurt.
to. They're
Those are the
obligated.
rules.
Are you going to blame him for today?
No, well, no, but he gets a lot of it in the second half because they're kind of in this. I never expected him to win, and certainly they didn't run the football well. But it's that step that he should be taking now that he's not taking.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why they're not winning.
I agree, and he's one of them.
And I think they got better talent.
And then Jennings didn't play today either.
He was still mentoring on the sidelines.
Mentoring on the sidelines,
Don't worry.
very important.
Very good mentor.
And were you
Big-time mentor.
I forgot to ask you, were you satisfied or okay with Jerome Simpson playing after the DWI? Were you okay with that decision, or did that bother you that he was on the field today?
Well, some coaches play guys like that. Some coaches don't play guys like that.
But you personally, would you have?
But when you're fighting for your job and hope you have a job for next year, you kind of play the guys.
Can I bring something up?
And he caught a touchdown pass right away.
Got two of them today.
Can I bring
No, that was Jarius Wright. That wasn't Jerome
Can
Simpson.
I bring something up? Adrian Peterson a year ago rushed for 2,097 yards and 6.02 yards per carry. With this offensive line and with Ponder being very erratic and not really playing that well against 8-man fronts. And he ran 78 yards for a touchdown on his first play of this season. Since then, he's averaging 3.98 yards a carry. He's not the same player. I don't care what anybody sees. What we saw last year was Joe Mauer in 2009 having a career season, and Adrian Peterson isn't as good.
Well, you don't expect him to come back and have the kind of year he
I
had.
Well, at
don't,
least
but
you
everybody thought he did.
At least you agree with me, the offensive line is part of it.
Well,
I'm saying that the
They got
running
him right.
back,
All right.
again,
Take a
is
break.
getting no blame.
take a break,
You don't
come
have
back,
no
stay
blame.
with us.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quart surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Bar Abilene at Lagoon and Fremont in uptown Minneapolis. And Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.
J.D. Hoyt's coming downtown to watch the Wolves. On your way to the Wild, the Gopher game. Absolutely stop on by, or a Viking game. J.D. Hoyt's. Man, is that a prime cut and then some. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Louis, while you're away, the Gophers just kept winning football games. Now we've got the big game against Wisconsin. I would say that I'd have to go back to that Gopher-Michigan Friday night game to think of one that had this kind of build-up.
That's right, and that's the one that we were winning it well in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hopefully, if we could win this game, it'll be the biggest game we've had in 20 years. Right now, I think we're on the border for maybe a bowl game in Florida, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, you're just close to your house.
Yeah,
Patrick,
you
I didn't...
drive over.
Let's make it the Gator Bowl. Even the Capitol Bowl. Let's not go to the. Somebody told me the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl gets picked before the Gator Bowl. I'd like to go to the Gator Bowl because it's been around for 100 years.
Yeah, it
It's
feels
got
like
some
something, doesn't it?
prestige.
I don't care about the
Mr.
names. I
Kill.
want them in Florida.
I'll tell you something.
Call them whatever you want to call
Let
them.
me tell you something, young man. When I watched Wisconsin yesterday against Indiana, I changed my tone a little bit. That is one fine football team they've got.
Mr. Kill thinks Wisconsin is one of the finest teams in the country. They got a linebacker by the name of Borland. If I'm the Vikings and I have the first pick, there's the guy I take.
Not Johnny
Boy,
Football, you
he
take him.
is something. I've never seen. I watched all of Wisconsin.
What about their running backs, Gordon and White?
Yeah, but they got a lot of seniors on it. Here's the amazing thing: Alvarez comes there and builds a program with a bad start. Then he hires a guy that nobody thought should be the head coach.
Bielema.
Yeah, and he keeps on winning. Then he brings in this guy from Utah, and he keeps on doing it.
They got a philosophy. Get 5 310-pounders and pound the hell out of people. And
man, does it
the
work.
difference, I would say, this year is they're better defensively than they've been. They're
pretty good
better
defense.
defensively.
Yep.
They weren't worth a damn defensively last year.
Louis?
Well, they're going to be tough to beat. And then when you look at it, the Big Ten's got a couple of good teams with them and Wisconsin, Ohio State,
Ohio
Michigan
State,
State.
Michigan State. Those three are the three.
Who's
Three
the,
pretty good ones.
Who's the with a 2:30 start though? We'll even have the students there when the game starts. That'll be good,
But
right?
that has not been determined.
That'll
has
be
it?
2:30.
Oh, it is a 2:30 start?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
the joint will be jumping.
That we'll be jumping.
Hopefully this time we sell it
sell
out.
it this
I hope
time
the
out.
students come this time. We,
You could get rid of your tickets to some Wisconsin people.
I
Pay some
actually,
money.
I did
They
it
are
already.
changing.
I'll be in Florida, not to Wisconsin people, but to my
They're
friends.
changing a rule. The region passed a rule at one time that you had to reserve 10,000 tickets for the students. You couldn't sell them till game day, and they're getting that changed.
Yeah, well, I bet they can
They'll be
sell.
gone by- they'll
I bet
sell.
they'll sell this. Oh,
Yeah.
I bet it's sold out already.
They'll sell this one.
I'm sure
Yeah,
our
that
guy
won't
at
be a
Mike.
problem.
I'm sure our guy Mike at Ticket King's making some money on
I would think
tickets
this
for
should be a
one.
hot ticket. Louis, what would this do for the program?
Well, I think it's, anytime you get a football team that's successful,
And if you get the 9
energizes,
wins, man.
it energizes the whole university community. It energizes the people in other sports. It energizes students, the faculty. People are more interested. Your alumni get more interested. Your fundraising takes off. It just helps when you got a strong athletic program.
And by
Just
the
look at
way,
all the places that have it.
What's
They
the
do well.
losing streak? 10? How many in a row?
Oh, Mason beat him at the Dome about 10 years ago. It wasn't 10, it was 9 or 11, but it was.
It's a long
and by the
losing
way, and then before that, it was Jim Wacker.
Longest
Beat him back to back in their Rose Bowl years.
longest winning streak, I believe,
that?
in the history of the series for either team.
But I think
whatever it is.
the Gophers are about
7 or
1-18.
They
If you
had
want to
that-
go back over the last 19
They had
years.
that last one won.
They've lost 9 straight to Wisconsin.
And then they won one, and previous to that, I think they'd lost about 8 in a
203
row.
they lost. Here's the thing. The great Ken Keller, who was president of the University of Minnesota, every school, Northwestern, for instance, they go to the Rose Bowl, they raise more money than they ever raised. I'm talking about not only sports, everything. Mr. Keller saw that thing, and he put out a memo that's not true. But that is 100%
What are you talking
true.
about?
I don't know either.
Well, nobody probably
What-
read that
what
memo
he's saying
anyway.
is that everybody adhered to this philosophy, and then Keller did his own research and said, no, that's not true, right?
How's that working out for Northwestern this year?
I don't know. How about that?
0-6,
Northwestern
they were
lost
rated
5
what?
straight, and they were the favorite against Michigan yesterday. They should have beat them.
And they should have beat him.
yeah.
If they beat him at the end, then for sure we should be in like 4th or 5th position. Michigan would have been 2 and 4 then.
Yeah.
And we'd have been in really a good
Gophers
position.
are still going to
amazing.
get a pretty good bowl game,
Yeah.
even if they lose the last 2.
That was amazing how they got lined up for that field goal
You see that?
and tied the game, sent in overtime, Michigan.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable game, but Northwestern should have won it. Take a break, come back.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Allery's, the original St. Paul sports bar, now with 65 beers on tap.
There it is out in Minneapolis. Stop on by, as I do often. See Bruce Bonine, talk Gopher sports with him. He loves it. Just saw him at the game the other night. And the whole group out there. Time to get maybe that Q7 or that A4 as we head towards the winter months. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Patrick, the Minnesota Wild are playing well. Timberwolves are playing well. This has been a good winter start so
the
far.
Gophers are 8-2, and the Gophers basketball team hasn't lost, and the hockey team's #1 in the country. The only bad thing is the girls got beat today. The women's hockey team.
61 straight,
Streak
huh?
ends at 62, right?
Yeah, and they won
62.
62.
They won
And they won
62.
6-1 yesterday, so I'm surprised
Yeah.
they lost today.
Yes.
What happened, Louis?
And if you read the article in the paper today, it was like they got all upset. The North
His
Dakota was
people.
talking about breaking a streak, and then they trounced them real good. North Dakota comes back, and it just seems North Dakota's and Minnesota. If you look at the women's hockey, they've had a great rivalry all the way through. They've both had good teams, and they've seemed to upset the other team when the other team's better. And unfortunately, it ended.
Can't
But
win them all.
You can't. I mean,
Well, last year they actually could.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get a chance to say something?
Okay, Wild. What do you think of the Wild so far? Power play, special teams. Where do you want to start?
The Wild are playing pretty good. How about that Gopher basketball
Wait a
team?
second. What about just Josh Harding?
Who?
Josh Harding, the goaltender for the Wild.
Yeah.
Put in perspective his story as he continues to play pretty well for this team.
Well, I know nothing about hockey.
Yeah, but you know his
except
story.
You have to have a good goaltender.
That's right.
And losing Backstrom for maybe a month or long is going to hurt him. Harding, you never know when he's got that problem,
Yeah, but that hasn't affected him at all.
No.
but it hasn't affected him so far.
Harding's been sensational.
Meanwhile, the Gophers go to Richmond.
Well, you want to get back to Gopher
Get back to
basketball?
it.
I was going
And,
to give you a whole hockey segment here, Louis. I was trying.
Well, that's okay, though. I don't mind him going to go for basketball. That's quite all right.
And they win. They have a 19-0 run to end the game.
We haven't been this excited about a Gopher basketball team being 3-0 or 3-0 since last November.
That's right.
When we had Rodney Williams and Trevor Mbakwa.
And it was going to
Look
be the
out,
year to
baby!
contend for the Big Ten title.
And Andre Hollins, though, a hell of a player.
They played a pretty good team last night, though.
Not too bad at their place too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Gopher hockey team keeps winning.
They've got a great young team, a fun team to watch. A lot of speed, a lot of talent, and they've played some tough teams. When you look at beating Boston College, Notre Dame, and Mankato's got a good team.
You know
too.
what I didn't
It's good.
realize till the season started, but this whole Big Ten schedule doesn't even start till after Thanksgiving.
Right.
It's forever before you play a conference game.
Well, you only got 5
You
teams
got
to
20
play.
They had 20 games.
Yeah.
'cause They only got 5 series.
I mean, it
games.
makes sense, but it just is.
You like Charlie Coyle on the front line rather than that center?
I do, and I said the best thing that might have happened to the Wild was they had Coyle, who they were going to use at second-line center, get hurt. And that gave Granlund a chance to play. Granlund proved to be one of their better forwards since
With
the year's gone
Pominville.
on, with Pominville. So now that frees him up to put Coyle on the wing with Parisi and Koivu, and it gives you 2 real good scoring
Best
lines.
news I've heard is not suddenly the NHL is worried about all these idiotic shootouts, how many shootouts they're having, and they're trying to figure out something to do about it. What's your solution?
Well, it's not a new thing. They've had
Too many.
No, they've had some general managers been saying let's go longer overtime.
I thought 4-on-4 was going to cure all this.
Well, not all, but they want to go 10 minutes now. And
I know,
maybe-
but I thought 4-on-4 would cure it all.
It's not you're not going to score all the time in 4-on-4, and so they're trying to cut down the number of shootouts because they don't like positions being determined by shootouts.
Yeah.
A lot of shootouts. All of a sudden, some team makes it in the playoffs because they got a good shootout team.
Right, exactly.
But here's the problem. The Winnipeg Jets are playing the Wild tonight. If they're in overtime, they know they're not as good as the Wild. So all
Right.
they're going to try to do is get to the shootout and hope something good happens.
Take
right?
your chances.
Well, that's what happens
on the
most
show?
of the
I'm
time.
sorry, your opinion on the shootout.
Yeah.
I know you feel strongly about this. Give your
I'll
position.
let Louis talk about the.
You know when a goaltender is
shootout.
really important? In a shootout.
Yeah.
Well, the Wild they're winning. And that's all that counts. They're tough at home and
they're good on the
tough
road right now.
and they got that setter. They got some great players on the hockey team, and you got to give the coach a lot of credit. I thought he'd be fighting for a job.
Well, those
at
new
this point.
stats tell us that possessing the puck is a good idea, but you say that wasn't a bad idea 40 years ago.
It actually worked well that
We got
time.
new
best teams
stats.
used to play like
we
that.
got new stats now that tell us if you have the puck, you have a better chance.
Now they
of
feed
scoring
into a
than the
computer
other
and it
team.
tells you what you kind of
Oh,
thought.
God, that's
huh?
great.
Take a
Mr.
break, come
Hockey
back,
right
stay
there.
with us. Was Taste of the Vikings. You can still donate. Go to Vikings.com/taste. Help feed the hungry. Welcome back to the sports show. Sid Hartman, you sat here and you told us for 3 straight weeks, and I disagreed with you the whole time, that Joe Mauer would not go to first base. And I said, I think the organization is going to keep putting pressure on him until he does. He's going to first base.
Well, Bill Mauer is what told me that he's a catcher, and I said, well, when it's catch, I'm not the only one he told. He told everybody.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, they convinced him that with his concussion problems and stuff like that he had a longer career in baseball playing first base.
Patrick, do you think they convinced him? Or
I think they pretty much told him.
I do too.
I think they told him he's got to play first base because they want to come as close to getting their $23 million worth, and they want to get him in a lineup 150 games a year instead of 120 games a year.
That's what I think.
Well, when you got a player that can hit like that, you want to make sure he's playing all the time.
Yep.
And if he's going to have more injuries playing catcher and he could play first, why wouldn't you just play him first?
Yeah.
Plus, right now, they need a first baseman worse than they need
Yeah.
a catcher. They got a couple,
Then-
3 possibilities as a catcher. They don't
there
have a
any
first
chance
baseman.
they'll sign Brzezinski?
I don't know. It'd be more fun than a barrel of
Yeah, it would be,
monkeys,
wouldn't
but
it?
I don't think
I
so.
wish they would sign
Could be a
him.
good PR move, but I don't think it would help much what they're trying to do. They're trying to rebuild this thing. The Minnesota Timberwolves have been fun to watch this year. They came back with a nice win last night.
Yeah, they can score goals. Some
Field
of the
goals,
shots
as
they
a matter
make
of
are
Field goals, yeah.
unbelievable. Love from 50 feet out, and that new guy, what's his name?
Kevin Martin is really good.
Some shots he makes, I can't believe. They're pretty good. I don't think they have the depth on the bench, but they might have to go out and get one guy or 2 guys or something like that if they're going to make the playoffs. But they're pretty good if they stay healthy. That'd be tough.
I'll tell you who's in trouble, Derek Williams, because
He just can't find his way on the floor.
about 2 years ago, I'm listening to FSN, and all of a sudden, the homers on FSN don't feel bad about saying nasty things about Kevin Slowey. And I said, uh-oh.
He's gone.
It's all over for Kevin Slowey. They got permission to rip him.
Yeah.
You know, and Derek Williams, the last couple of games, they now have permission to rip him.
Which
So
means
that means he's gone.
which means he should be gone quickly.
Yes.
Right, before
Well, his
everybody else
value-
hears it, right?
Not only that, before his value goes down, and if the Wolves need a guy like Sid's talking about, an extra guy, you might as well trade Williams now.
He's the number 2 overall pick.
It doesn't matter.
That's
When you
what
make a
they were.
mistake,
I know.
Why don't they
what-
play
how do you-
Williams?
Huh?
Why don't they play Williams?
Because
I don't know.
When he
stinks.
plays, he does a good job.
No, he doesn't. He does a lousy job.
He does.
Yep.
Well, some matches defensively he struggles. Offensively, some nights he's good if they have the right
The
match.
whole team's not great defensively.
No,
I
But
mean,
they score a lot of
They have to
points.
get better defensively.
but they're fun to watch.
They're fun to watch.
Rubio's a center iceman, man. Playing
Sydney.
basketball.
Nate, back next week.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing. And Cuisine Concepts. Bar Abilene at Lagoon and Fremont in uptown Minneapolis. And Franklin Street Bakery at 11th and Franklin in South Minneapolis, just down from Mall of America Field. And Taste of the NFL. Proud to be the premier Super Bowl party with a purpose to support hunger relief locally and nationally.